Good evening and welcome to Northbeat. I'm Leanie Lambrink in Yellowknife. People from Hay River are anxiously waiting to find out if they can go home Sunday. We still don't know for sure. The town of Hay River said it was holding a meeting today and would confirm the return date afterward. That news is still expected to come later tonight. But businesses are gearing up for re-entry anyways. Luke Carroll tells us what'll be open and what'll be slow going when the evacuation order finally lifts.
The owner of Mahar's Heating and Plumbing says he'll be back when people return, but he's got a lot of work waiting for him. Bryce Mahar says since he hasn't been able to do any of the plumbing or heating work he was scheduled to do over the past month, he's going to need to do that before he can take on any new jobs. He says contractors have lost their window to complete late summer and early fall work that typically needs to be completed before the winter. But other businesses say they have everything they need. This includes Home Hardware, whose owner says they just got a shipment of supplies and they're ready to return to the regular hours from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. starting on Monday. Rings Pharmacy is also gearing up for regular hours starting next week, while the Rooster, the local coffee shop, is hoping to open on Sunday. Luke Carroll, CBC News, Yellowknife.
Yellowknifers have been back in the city for a little more than a week now. Life seems to be getting back to normal, but that isn't the case for everyone. Some businesses in the city say they're still in trouble, and they're going to need more support from the government to stay open. Sarah Krymolowski has more.
Owner Jen Bergstein says it's been a good week at the bookseller in Yellowknife. Ever since she reopened on Monday, customers have been buying books non-stop. After weeks with no revenue, it's support she desperately needed. But the business is still struggling.
As fabulous as the community support has been, we have been run off our feet with the limited staff we have right now. I'm aware that only lasts for so long, and while it's been helpful, the ability for us to truly rebound is really dependent on the government.
She isn't the only business owner who says they may need to close up shop. Zahabesha owner Dinku Tadessa told CBC he isn't sure if he will be able to reopen the restaurant. Ice Blink Clothing Boutique in downtown Yellowknife is in trouble too.
I'm getting endless bills, endless emails. And unless I do get funding, there will be no future for my business.
McNichol has organized a meeting of 35 businesses in town. They're sharing ideas on how they can stay afloat and get more financial support from the territory. Their first meeting will be next Wednesday. Sarah Krymolowski, CBC News, Toronto.
Wildfires have spared Fort Simpson NWT so far this year, but the village is taking steps to guard itself from future fires. The rivers offer it some protection, but Fort Simpson is flanked by thick forest on two sides. Leaders in the community are thinking ahead. They want to make the most of the trees and brush that'll be knocked down.
All of our forests, particularly our old growth forests, we're surrounded by old growth timber around this island here, and it can absolutely all be utilized. It can be the timbers can be used to develop homes. People burn firewood for heating. We can open up land for agriculture, farming. I think our territory needs to push harder when it comes to green energy development, particularly in this territory. As it is, we're reliant on diesel fuel generation, and everybody is paying for that now, and costs are continually rising when it comes to energy costs. They're not going to go down. So utilizing our biofuel for energy is just, it's kind of the right move. It's a step in the right direction for a better future for our community.
It'd be really nice to harvest a lot of that biomass for firewood for elders and community members, but also, you know, the big timbers, it should be harvested for various projects around the community, such as picnic tables, benches, maybe gazebos and such, garden boxes for our people, and just try to not waste and really take a good hard dene take on harvesting from the land. I think that just comes down to our fundamental values as Dene people that are from the land. Is we use everything. There's an analogy that we share around the office here of using the whole moose. And that is just a concept of it's not just about harvesting an animal for the meat. There's clothing, there's artwork, there's tools, and there's so much that could come out of that one animal. So use that concept everywhere else and just maximize any return that you could possibly get. Let's not waste. Let's use what's there and in the best way that we can.
A group with views some Yukoners say are transphobic are organizing a protest in Whitehorse next week. Yukon's LGBTQ community says it's part of a hate movement and they're organizing a counter-protest of their own. The CBC's Virginia Ann has more.
I guess a chance for one. But it sounds like they're going up more in the neighborhoods now.
For the past few days, the LGBTQ community and allies are on the hunt to remove posters plastered across town. The posters promote a rally which is called the 1 Million March for Children. Ren Nicolardi is a member of the LGBTQ community. They call the messaging on the posters dangerous and misleading. An example, leave our kids alone.
Wanting to protect children from harm is a natural and pro-social instinct that we all share. And it's important to know that SOGI, sexual health, sexual orientation, gender identity education is not sexualizing. In the same way that talking about straight families.
The posters advocate against policies implemented by the Yukon government to support students. The policies were designed to welcome students from all sexual orientations and gender identities. That include using correct pronouns for students and amplifying anti-bullying measures. Fabienne Calvert-Filto is also a member of the LGBTQ community. They say it's exhausting to see views they consider anti-trans.
I wish I could say it was surprising because of what has been happening nationally and internationally around the erosion of queer and trans rights. I didn't feel surprised to see it coming here. Felt incredibly disheartened and heartbroken.
The LGBTQ community is planning a counter-protest on September 20th. That's the day march organizers are urging parents to keep their kids home from school. Both are taking place in front of the Yukon Legislative Assembly at noon. Virginia Ann, CBC News, Whitehorse.
The Yukon and Nunavut governments have both confirmed they were victims of a cyber attack yesterday. Both government websites were targeted by a distributed denial of service campaign. That means fake user accounts overloaded and crashed websites. Similar attacks happened to government websites across Canada, including PEI, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan. The NWT government had issues with its website yesterday too, but it hasn't confirmed whether it was because of the same attack. A statement from the government of Yukon says the cyber attack is still happening, but its efforts to mitigate it have been mostly effective. A spokesperson for the Nunavut government says it's got a solution in place to block the attack too, but some people may still have trouble accessing the site. Both the Yukon and Nunavut governments say no data was lost. The town of Inuvik is ramping up enforcement of its ATV bylaw. It's trying to curb dangerous driving. People in Inuvik can expect to see more RCMP and bylaw officers doing patrols. The CBC's Des Loreen has more.
Inuvik's town office and the RCMP are working together to stop illegal use of ATVs. A notice went out on Wednesday outlining a plan for increased enforcement. Jesse Aubin is the detachment commander for the Inuvik RCMP. He says the goal is to educate ATV users not to give out more tickets.
I myself was a child at one point and liked to drive snowmobiles and ATVs as a teen. But again, training, wearing a helmet, being sober, and following the rules of the road so we can all enjoy the outdoors and be safe.
Mayor Clarence Wood says there have been many complaints of reckless ATV users in town. He hopes more people come forward and will report any unsafe activity.
We have a number of cases that I've seen personally in the past of young people operating ATVs in particular without helmets, non-licensed, obviously no insurance, driving recklessly and endangering the public. We want to get rid of that.
Aubin says any information or tips about unsafe ATV usage can be reported to the RCMP or to the town. Wood says that he hopes that parents and owners will put safety into consideration when using their ATVs. Des Loreen, CBC News, Inuvik.
A new cargo jet expected to improve shipping to the north is almost ready to take flight. The plane will travel from Edmonton to Yellowknife, making it the first cargo-only freight route between both cities. The jet is expected to bring more goods to the north, and it'll do it faster.
It can haul 10,000 pounds more at 20% better fuel efficiency. This airplane is really awesome. We can't wait to get it flying. Traditionally, cargo up north is being trucked. You've seen news articles and pictures of prices of food up north. It's a huge problem, and a lot of that is due to spoilage because of the amount of time it stays on the road. Aircraft like this can get the food fresher, quicker to the store shelves, which is less spoilage, brings the cost down.
The jet is a custom-built Boeing 737. It'll fly between the two cities Monday through Friday. In addition to bringing goods to the Northwest Territories, it's also expected to open doors for northern industries. They'll have access to global markets and can use Edmonton as a distribution hub. It would be one of the largest mines ever built in the Yukon. This week, Casino Mining Corporation received guidelines for an environmental assessment for the project. The company hopes to mine for copper, gold, and other minerals at the Casino site. It's 300 kilometers northwest of Whitehorse. The project will undergo what's called a panel review. That's the most stringent level of review under Yukon law.
I certainly encourage everybody that's interested in the project to reach out to us and or when this panel process kicks off, get involved. It's a big project. I think it's going to be a great benefit to the Yukon, but to make sure it's done right, it's best that we have everybody's thoughts put into it.
Casino will submit an impact statement for the project sometime next year. Climate protesters rallied in front of the Yukon legislature in Whitehorse today. More than 60 people showed up to share their support. The strike was part of Fridays for Future, a global climate protest movement led by young people. Whitehorse organizers say they want the Yukon government to phase out fossil fuels. They also want the government to follow a plan set out by the Yukon First Nations Climate Action Fellowship. Australia is working to improve its relationship with Indigenous peoples. The country is gearing up for a referendum that could give First Nations constitutional recognition and a dedicated voice in Parliament. CBC's Sasha Petrusik has the details.
At a school north of Sydney, the push is on to revive Darawal, a fading Indigenous language now being taught to Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal youngsters. Thousands of children may eventually be involved in this program aimed at making Australia's cultures better understand each other.
We can't continue to sanitise what our old people went through, and once that's acknowledged by everybody, we can then move forward together.
It's part of Australia's attempt to kickstart a dialogue on Aboriginal rights, one that went into high gear with the announcement of a national referendum. Aboriginal peoples make up just over 3% of Australia's population. Marginalised and socially disadvantaged, they're barely mentioned in the Constitution and have no treaties. Proposed changes would create a so-called Voice to Parliament, an Indigenous committee to advise lawmakers. Campaigning for the Yes forces started right away. National airline Qantas and much of Australia's corporate community made a show of saying yes. But polls suggest most Australians aren't convinced.
It has caused nothing but harm and division.
And even some Indigenous leaders reject the referendum as just window dressing.
There won't be change until this society changes.
Native studies experts say Canada could use a similar national dialogue now, since support for Indigenous rights has dropped.
Some people are calling it reconciliation fatigue. That's said.
Sorry about that. A technical difficulty. It's been 2 decades since North America's first legally supervised injection site opened in Vancouver. Since then, it served millions of drug users. CBC's Joe Ballard takes a look at its legacy.
We did it, guys! We did it!
20 years ago, Insight opened its doors as North America's first legal supervised consumption site. Today, it continues to serve drug users, providing a safe way to inject under the watch of healthcare professionals.
Insight was important when it opened. It continues to be important in the current overdose crisis.
Over the last 2 decades, millions have visited. Many have been connected with detox and other healthcare services, and nearly 12,000 overdoses have been reversed.
I remember just coming here to use drugs is what I thought I was going to do. But it turned into something so much more and so much bigger.
Felicella says he visited Insight around 4,000 times over 10 years. One visit stands out in particular. He overdosed. When he regained consciousness, the nurse, shaken, told him she cared for him.
Burst into tears. And the many moments that led to that one moment where I just told her I don't want to do this anymore.
Felicella is more than a decade sober and now works as an advocate. Insight's journey hasn't been without its share of road bumps. The previous federal government attempted to withdraw its green light by removing its Health Canada exemption from prosecution under Canada's drug laws. The case was challenged, rising all the way to the Supreme Court of Canada.
The Supreme Court of Canada unanimously decided that it was unconstitutional to end Insight's exemption.
While it started as a way to prevent transmission from dirty needles, Insight has had to adapt. A new player entered the scene, fentanyl. Insight's data, crucial to understanding the deadly drug. In the years ahead, this team says Insight will continue to adapt and continue to save lives. Joel Ballard, CBC News, Vancouver.
May I guess your taste? Not wrong to have ambition. Don't let fear hold you back.
You don't let them win.
You're gonna see things you'll never forget.
We look so beautiful together. You are our tomorrow.
This is a man's heart, a heart in desperate need of medical attention. But because 78% of Indigenous people experience racism in healthcare, he may not get the help he needs. Become an ally. Rise above racism in healthcare.
When it comes to protecting the world's cuddliest creatures,
We just got a 911 on a bear in a hot tub.
you'll need animal control.
Did he turn the jets on?
Watch all episodes now.
CBC Marketplace has a new podcast. Hi, I'm David Common.
And I'm Asha Tomlinson. Let us help you avoid clever scams, unsafe products, and sketchy services.
You're claiming that you can cure cancer. Our TV show has been Canada's top investigative consumer watchdog for more than 50 years, but this is our first podcast.
We're watching out for your safety and money.
Many people who allege that you've ripped them off.
We've got your back.
Available now on CBC Listen or wherever you get your podcast.
Mahigiakta wants to know what Inuit post-secondary students think about their education and what they need to succeed. The Inuit Training Corporation is doing a survey. The information will be used to support Inuit in post-secondary programs. The corporation's assistant director says while the survey focuses on all fields, it's especially concerned with healthcare.
It creates a lot more trust within the system, having a Inuk healthcare professional, treating a Inuk. I think it builds a lot of trust. There's a lot of knowledge there in terms of like Inuit cultural practices, Inuit medicines, Inuit spirituality, among many other things.
The survey can be found online on Makigiakta's social media pages, or you can call in to participate. Nakashuk says those who complete the survey by Monday will be entered in a draw to win $700. There are 14 new works of art being added to the Yukon's permanent art collection. A show celebrating the acquisitions opened this afternoon in Whitehorse. CBC reporter Cheryl Kawaja was there.
Every year, the territory's permanent art collection grows. This year, there are 14 new pieces by 13 artists, covering a variety of different types of material and approaches, from paint to textile, beadwork, and bark.
I think the most exciting part for me, because I've gotten to know these works so intimately and gotten to know the artists through the process of acquiring them, is seeing other people experience them for the first time and seeing the artists be able to stand beside their work and have that moment to be honored for what they do.
It's awesome. That pieces of blue and green in there.
The artists come from across the Yukon. This beaded owl pendant is called Galaxy Pendant. It's by the youngest artist to ever have work acquired for the collection. Cohen Quash is based in Watson Lake and is of Casca, Tlingit, Tahltan ancestry. He was 13 when he made this piece.
I'm feeling really good and a little overwhelmed because how much people are here right now, but I'm happy for myself though.
This piece by Aubin O'Grady is called What the H.E. Double Hockey Sticks, and it reads, what the hell are we gonna do in the winter if we can't play hockey?
It was originally installed in the Dawson City Arena, and I made it in response to the news that the arena was potentially going to close. The permafrost was making the building unstable, and hockey is really one of the most beloved sports in the community. It's how we attend to our mental health. It's how we socialize when it's minus 40 out. I felt like it was a perfect opportunity to address something that was urgent in our community using art.
The exhibit is here in the Jim Smith building. That's the legislative building in Whitehorse. And the show will be up all winter, a chance for the public to come and see. And these new works now join more than 500 in the Yukon Permanent Art Collection. They'll be rotated through public buildings across the territory. Cheryl Kawaja, CBC News, Whitehorse.
Turning now to art on the big screen. The Toronto International Film Festival wraps up this weekend, and it's been a big event for French-Canadian movies. The industry there is booming and has surpassed this country's English language movies. The CBC's Eli Glasner takes a look at what's behind that success.
A suspected murderer on trial.
Vous admettez qu'il était jaloux?
No, I don't know. A conductor looking for harmony. And a drama set in Montreal's drag scene. 3 very different films, but a sign of French language cinema that is a consistent commercial and critical success. The majority of films made in Canada are English language. But look at last year. French language films earned nearly $10 million, while their English counterparts earned $2 million.
French-Canadian film has always, from the beginning, been Canada's most valued cinematic export.
Of course, part of what protects Quebec's film sector is language. Not having to worry about losing French fans to the likes of Tom Cruise helps, but the language barrier also retains talent.
Because we don't speak English that well, like me, we cannot go anywhere else. But really, so everybody stays there, and we can create all together.
And while movies from Quebec and France have distinct differences, both enjoy an industry where the director truly calls the shots.
I'm not forced to do something
a way or another. They trust my process. And maybe that's why our films are, I don't know, there's a signature to them.
Thank you. French filmmakers and stars say there's a missed opportunity for all Canadian filmmakers to be watching and learning from each other.
I think that's something that we should look to make a change, because it's like there's no conversation between French Canada and English Canada in cinema.
But at the festival, TIFF audiences are kickstarting the conversation.
They're open to see new stuff, and even from director they don't know yet.
As the new wave of French films takes center stage. Eli Glaster, CBC News, Toronto.
And that's Northbeat for tonight. For news anytime, head to cbc.ca/north. Thanks for watching. I'm Leanie Lambrink. Have a great weekend.
Consider this my resignation.
3 of Toronto's finest, dead on your watch.
There are secrets. I shall soon uncover them.
You're a very clever man.
No, you can't.
You'll be needing your rest.
Desperate times call for desperate measures, do they not?
Where are we?
The detective and his wife have gone missing. I don't know where they are.
Help! Help!
Hey, want to eat lunch with us? Guys, I'm not that hungry.
What Canadian creature is often a villain in fairy tales? Likes to talk to its family a lot. Hunts in large packs for big animals. And is a close cousin to dogs. If you guessed the wolf, you're right. These mighty hunters are quite shy of people and fill an important role in nature. To learn more about wolves, visit our website at hww.ca.
Every week, the issues that matter to Canadians.
These are acts of desperation.
Connecting politics to people.
We will always protect and defend all NATO allies.
Some people have lost everything.
Sundays, join me for Rosemary Barton Live.
We're ready to go when you need to know. Good morning. I'm Heather Hiscox. We begin with breaking news.
To see from behind us here how big the fire is. You're giving me the hard questions.
Yes, I found Canadians. Start your day with us on CBC Morning Live.
Get the news you need without restrictions. Download the free CBC News app